You're watching Forget Being Cool.
I mean, I was going to ask you how you felt about the social implications of a corporation adopting a child. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Hi, Jeff.
Jeff. Oh, crap. I messed it up already.
Jeff, we watched a movie.
We did watch a movie.
It's one of the most important movies of all time. It's very impactful, if you might want to say.
Oh, man. What makes you say it was one of the most important movies of all time?
It's on a poster, and therefore we must watch it.
Oh, yeah. It was on that poster, man. Did you scratch it off?
I have not yet, actually.
Man.
I can after we record this.
People listening probably have no idea what we're talking about.
No, they don't yet. Anyway, Jeff, we watched The Truman Show. It's available on Netflix as of this recording. What do you think of this movie, Jeff? I've got a couple issues. I really do enjoy it overall, though.
It's one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like his breakout role in a drama.
So, I don't think we need to explain The Truman Show, but for those who've never seen it, go watch it. He's Truman. He's part of the Truman Show, which is a 24-hour live broadcasted his life that they've turned into basically a reality TV show because people are so attached to watching things on television in this future based on when the movie came out in 1998, which is really interesting to me considering like how many people want to watch people do everything on Twitch now, right? And how like, yes, they're very off because nobody's watching, TV, but they never could have predicted the way that the internet would shape culture and society.
No. Dude, could you imagine just watching one TV show about a guy's life?
I mean, it's basically Seinfeld, except not as funny. Right? Like, that's basically what this is. It's a show about nothing. Except then they artificially create scenarios to drive the plot forward, which is maybe the most fascinating part to me. Is that despite the fact that it is a reality TV show, basically watching every minute, 24 hours of his life, we still do things like kill his father and introduce a love interest and create artificial plots to continue his life to be interesting because watching him sell insurance or whatever he actually does for a fake living wouldn't be entertaining in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I feel like most of his days are really boring. And the only interesting, like, this just taps into the most interesting part.
Yeah, but see, like, why does that entertain the people of this culture? Like, it's bizarre to me in a way that, like, I understand why people watch people eating on Twitch, I guess. I understand why IMSR, what is it, Jeff?
ASMR.
Yeah, it's like a thing. Like, I understand why people watch random things on Twitch. What I don't understand is why people would have watched this. But in 1998, we were clearly on a path to get to the point where people wanted to watch people do things, which is weird. My biggest issue with the cinematography in this movie, Jeff, right? Like, if we're to get into like the nitty gritty, is part of it is very like hidden camera.
Yeah.
Right? And every time we're seeing him on the set, it's supposedly a hidden camera. Yet then we do these moments with these like beautiful pan shots inside the fake world that I understand is years of experience of these people running this fake TV show. Like, I get like there's an idea there, but like some of the shots that are security cameras or whatever, like, don't seem like, yeah, that's a fake camera, like a hidden camera somewhere.
I don't think it's all supposed to be hidden cameras.
But I think it should commit to that idea then, though. Like, if you're... Go ahead.
Then you'd feel like you're actually watching the show.
I mean,
Like you're watching the Truman Show.
isn't that kind of the point, though?
Yeah, but think of like what shots they'd be limited to if they did that. Think about like
I think
when they were in.
I think it's completely okay to go back to the like controlled environments when we're like the guy who's running the show is doing the call interviews. Like totally fine to use controlled cameras and sets there.
Mm-hmm.
My issue lies in if we're gonna do it at all, then commit to the idea when you're in that world. Also, the set light's ridiculous falling in the beginning. I don't understand how this set's lit at all. It's too big.
What do you mean?
Like
It's supposed to be fiction.
I know, but like I
How
would
is the Star Killer base powered?
How do they get across Starkiller Base in 15 minutes?
Exactly.
To go back to Jeff's ultimate, just suspend your disbelief. I wish it would have been like, I don't know, like a guy on a ladder or something that fell. Not
A guy. Where would a guy just on a ladder in the middle of the whole set? That's even more ridiculous. And he just exploded on the pavement and died.
Okay, maybe like a fake cloud, like one of like the big fake clouds in the fake sky.
A fake cloud is there are no like fake like set clouds like that. It'd probably be made like a real cloud.
Okay, but
it's real climate controlled.
No, but it's like enclosed in a dome. Like, see, this is the problem.
Even though it's enclosed, it's huge enough for climate control. It's like a giant biodome.
Yeah, but if you think about it to this extent, then if it's that big, Jeff, how is this giant light lighting anything? Like, it's not that big. It's not the equivalent of the sun.
No, but think about like, there's probably hundreds of thousands of those up there. It has to be lit somehow, right?
I guess so. It's the moment that, I mean, it sets the plot forward.
Yeah, it does. It's ridiculous. Like I felt, even though I've seen this movie a few times, it follows you. All right, okay, that could be possible, but what are the chances? What are the chances of that happening?
I like him figuring it out more by like the weird like sponsorships of his wife. Right? Like
my gosh, which is ridiculous.
The way he can't leave is way more interesting to me. Like he gets on the bus and the bus driver decides like, how can I screw this up so that we can't go anywhere? Like that's a little bit more believable to me. It seems like people are controlling things more. The guy, his best friend, is loading the vending machine, then he takes stuff out of the vending machine, then he puts stuff back in because he's not really loading the vending machine.
He wasn't taking stuff out. He was actually loading it in. I think that's just vending machines for the people on set just to buy stuff.
That's what I assume too.
Actually has to like they tell him, all right, you're an actor, but you really have to load up these vending machines.
Like your second job is to actually load these. It's funny. It's smartly written. This whole movie is fascinating. It's a very good social experiment to me.
I think it's really cool.
Do you ever think about this, Jeff, when you're like in your real day life and you like think about something that isn't relevant at all anymore, something like Beyblades? I don't know why this is the first thing that comes to mind, right? And then you're like watching TV and like Hulu decides to run a Beyblades ad and you're like, okay, number one, that hasn't happened since 2002. Like, what kind of fake world am I in right now where they're clearly marketing towards me and my own thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
You ever experience this and kind of wonder? And, like, I guess
just
it's
a large coincidence like that.
Yeah. And it's maybe, I mean, it's kind of the point. It's what the idea of this movie is driven on, is him realizing that not everything is in the correct place.
Yeah. That's different than all of the Truman Show, though.
What do you...
How's this guy gone through 30 years and not realize this until today?
I mean, I was going to ask you how you felt about the social implications of a corporation adopting a child.
I think that shouldn't be possible.
I agree, but I think it's also entirely likely that could become possible.
But isn't that like what they're doing to him? Is that borderline like kidnapping him?
I think once he turned 18, what they're doing is wrong, considering that, like, if you were adopted and your adopted parents were horrible to you, like, you're on your own once you're an adult. Like, he became an adult till 29 and decided that, like he had no idea.
How much of like a mind, like how large did it blow his mind when he figured that out? And then you look back, you think about it, like, man, I've been in this for 30 years. How dumb am I to not have noticed until now?
Yeah, but he started to notice earlier on. He was putting the pieces together earlier. It just didn't sink in.
What if they didn't do so like the Truman Show, like they legally adopted him and they just decided it was going to be a horror type show? Like this guy's just fending him for his life for the rest of his life.
That sounds horrifying, terrible, and awful, but isn't that basically the plot of Naked and Alone, the reality TV show that exists on cable now?
But it's not. They know it's a show. He wouldn't know it's a show. We would have thought that would be reality, right?
Right.
Which would have been crazy and insane.
Anyway, Jeff, that's what I think of The Truman Show.
Yeah.
I think it's a great movie. I think it's something that everybody should watch at least once. It aged a little bit weird because anytime you predict the future, in the past, the future is clearly different, but I also find that really fascinating in film. Anyway, Jeff, what do you give this on a rating scale of 0 to 100? Feel free to
0 to 100.
Feel free to introduce any sort of actual scale that you would like.
See, you know what the problem with this is? This is the first movie we're reviewing.
Right.
This sets it all. If I rate it high, then I'm like, then every movie I watch over that, I'm like, man, is that like now I have to tune it to the Truman Show?
Right.
Oh man, I'd say, I mean, it was Jim Carrey did a good. I thought it was really good. It was, think about 1998. How like different this is than the rest of the movies out there. Like how
different is it? I mean, it is. It's so different from what was coming out at the time that's why this movie stands the test of time, because it's different.
What kind of generation is it where in 98 the Truman Show came out? It won a bunch of awards. A ton of awards. And then a year later, The Matrix came out.
We could just give this movie 100%.
Wait, where'd the 90s come from, Dave? The 90s had The Truman Show, The Matrix.
I think it's a solid 98% on this scale, Jeff.
Really? I'd give it...
You give it a what?
80 out of 83 out of 100. 83 out of 100.
All right. Anyway, Jeff, that's The Truman Show. Guys, go watch it, and we'll see you guys next week for another impactful film.